The Hermit's Diary, a Lonely Codex.
Rain calls to me now, a truth, truer than all earthbound truth. The deep scrawler prays the truly divine onto paper. Blessings, a beauty like no other, a joy, a divine connection beyond reality, scrawled a message of higher order. A story stirs in the pencil, waiting, itching to be told. Fleeting raindrops danced on the pane. Swift, a faint whistle breezed through suburbia. A man sat scribbling as he did, surfing the flowing ether through a pencil. Slouched on a charity shop sofa, alone for days, but he was happy. He was only himself. All that happened to him had faded away in the squiggling pencil stroke. He could barely see. There was no light coming into the room, but for a thin slither of faint grey ambience sneaking through the boarded-up windows. He didn't have time anymore for whatever was going on outside the barricade. He had remained quiet in his black shack, careful not to arouse attention from the snot he was engulfed in on the estate. New build. Shit build, he thought, as he lurched from the sofa to the toilet, tiptoes to be quiet, as to convince his downstairs neighbour that he was not at home. Something to aim for, he thought, as he laser-sighted his piss on the whopping week-old skids in the bowl. He didn't give a fuck. He literally couldn't care any less. The potent, scathing urea stench of the bathroom would turn anyone else's stomach. It made even the men's restrooms smell pretty sanitary in comparison. But in his own way, he liked it. It was his own chaotic paradise. As if allergic to order, everything in his flat just fell where it may. Things were just left wherever he let go of it. He saw it as minimal energy loss. He was happy this way. It felt natural. As formless was his form, until further notice. His entire being was just dissolved into whatever was happening at that time. He only did exactly what he wanted to do, for only exactly as long as he wanted to do it. Nothing in his life was addressed until the wind blew it his way, aggressively, without expectation. He was just happening, dwelling serenely in his awareness, floating on his back in the ocean, just letting the sea take him, surrendering whole to the moment, the currents of its waves, with almost zero input. A master, this was no doubt. As if possessed by a God consciousness, incarnate in a living man's body, a being of light, a diva, entity, streaming through the antenna of his consciousness, born anew every minute. Gods stream through him, different faces, different entities, in episodes, hence this ever-changing fluidity. Bang! Bang! The door went, violently wrenched from nirvana and catapulted into pulmonary thrombosis. The hermit froze solid in terror. Trembling and shuddering, he descended at tortoise speed onto the floor. Time dilated, and his heart was well over 200 beats per minute, thudding on the floor as he crawled commando, holding his breath. Bang! Bang! Police! Open up! The horror screamed through the deep of his being. Crawling, he was paralyzed. His heart was about to burst from his chest, on the brink of meltdown, and a faint murmuring of police radio chatter permeated through the paper-thin walls of the complex. What was it now, he thought, jaw clenched, a never-ending saga of bombardment through that front door, an eternal siege of bullshit, aggro, and energy-sucking parasites. I want a house with no fucking door, he ached. Frantic internal dialogue dillied and dallied in an attempt to withdraw from the immediate present. Stick it out, he hushed under his breath, as radio chatter and murmuring waned, convincing yet another group of people that he didn't exist. 'Twas becoming quite a habit. Existence was increasingly dangerous for him. His vibration was an apple pie lightning rod to insect scum and their pitiful ailments. Plop. The letterbox clapped with a letter popping through, landing softly on a mountain of other unopened, nagging notices, as if to signal the bell at the end of the round. Yet with experience, he knew not to overcook it. Patience was a virtue in this game. You wait for the ignition, then the faint trailing off of engines, then a further 20-minute cool down. Was this going too far, he thought? The world just seemed hell-bent on crashing the party. Not far enough, he thought. His divinity was sacred, yet fragile, requiring round-the-clock care and protection to maintain. When he left the house, they said, "You can't wear that." When he spoke, they said, "You can't say that." And when he pranced and sang, they said, "Oh, we don't do that." And when he laughed and joked, they said, "Oh, that's not funny." And when he cooked, they said, "Oh, that's too sweet for us." And when he loved, they said, "Gosh, that's too intense for me." And when he thought, "God, this is all pretentious diarrhea," they said, "We don't think that." Eventually it dawned that there were more ties he cut and the less friction he endured. There was no convincing the weeds they were flowers. He was wasting no more of his life preaching to deaf slugs. They didn't speak English anyway. Probably should go get that letter. His inner tongue bleakly considered, triggering the usual script of, well, if I don't open it, it can't hurt me. But your whole life could come crashing down. What if it's something really important? No, not now. Too fragile. Risk cognitive Armageddon? No fricking way. Another time, maybe. Just not now. Equilibrium hangs by a thread right now. Besides, I have joy and spontaneity to conjure, ecstasy to revel in, heights of experience to dine in, vistas to soar. The keys are mine alone, he whispered to his reflection, in the bedside mirror. Arguably his only true grace. The man staring back at him on reflective glass. He understood. He got me. He loved me. The hermit dreamily echoed in his mind, gazing longingly in his own reflected eye contact. He leaned in, kissed the lips of the glass, surrendered to the euphoria pressed on the pain. He exhaled deeply, submitting, bathing in the allure of the man in glass. In their heart they knew he was too far gone. There would be no turning back from here. I was never inherently naughty in the traditional sense. I was never the aggressor, nor confrontational, not violent, not a prolific thief nor conspirator. I simply pled inaction to the formalities, simply did not adhere to the booking nature of it all. I didn't feel obliged to cross any T's, so to speak. No drama, no conflict, no commotion was always prosecuted for inaction. It was the nagging, subtle conformities. I paid them no attention. They just simply didn't even enter my brain to even think about them for a second. So in turn, I grew very sneaky, covert. To live how I wanted to live, I had to be very sneaky, as to avoid confrontation, as to slip through the net of behavioural modification. The subtleties. Behind on this, late for that. I got away with as much as I possibly could. I cut every single corner. I learned the subtleties of words and sentence construction, as to lie and tell the truth simultaneously from a young age. So sneaky, so cunning as to evade my will ever being stolen by the establishment. I had to become smarter in order to survive, to be the truth, to live in the truth. You have to become the master of covert operations to be the light, anonymous, invisible, undetected. I am their biggest threat, the lightning rod of gods, a gatekeeper unto forces that relinquish the darkness. They would consider me as an enemy of the state. His dealings transcend this plane, his work and position beyond the matrix, beyond the material. Employment. I was so unsuited for it. I could get anyone I want, any job, any occupation. I just bowled straight in and got it before I even entered the room. It was child's play. My family and friends somehow convinced me that it was a good idea, that it was what I needed, that it was going to benefit me. But I hated every morsel second of it. My being loathed it with a passion. I couldn't force myself through the torture of it. The pain of my will being stolen was too great. Scraping the absolute bare minimum, cutting every corner humanly possible. Every cunning use to hang on to it for as long as possible. As though there was some little game I was playing with my cunning. I gave as little as I could, and I took as much as I wanted. Desensitized to cautionary finger-wagging, I milked every loophole possible. They weren't getting fuck all out of me. They weren't bleeding me. No chance. I just simply saw it as my will, and it was too valuable to even be bargained with. I only acted out of love. No fear or coercion. My will was mine. Selling any of it was with absolute disdain, a deadweight, leveraged so that your will was to be expended more and more than mine if you was to ever force it out of me, to the point where it would not be worthwhile for your domination. Their investment far outweighing the return from trying to extract my will. To mine me against my will would cost the man so dearly he would just simply not bother. However, when aligned, when my will became your will, the miracle is yours. The will of God is the wind beneath your wings. The predators of this world hunt free or cheap will. They farm a cheap will with the smallest investment possible. And how can you mould a cheap will? Convince them that it is of no value, decrease their self-worth, reduce their perceived value of it, and convince them it's going to a divine cause. And so it was, exile. In shallow darkness my ponderances curdled, thickened. A new reality wove itself together in my mind, void of time. Days turned to weeks, into years. Words and images cascaded through my head, that of a different world. The reality I had known before turned to ash. The character I had been prescribed slipped through my fingers by the day, to where there was nothing left of that man anymore. A new world unravelled before my eyes. Knowledge you couldn't find in the books poured itself into my mind. Fiction and reality were becoming inseparable. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be controversial. But it appears to be an inescapable consequence of expressing my reality. An unavoidable consequence of who I am. It is not my desire. It's got nothing to do with me. It's just so different, so new, that it is impossible to ignore, though it is not my intention. I just want to live the richest experience possible by expressing the richness of my mind. That is the sole intent, to express the blessing of my mind. I see no reason to be famous. I have no desire to be validated, no interest in fame's offerings. I don't feel compelled to aspire to anyone's expectations. To be the most hated man or the most loved makes no difference to me. I am that I am. Who else can I be? Though I am scared they will try to kill me. If not, drug me, lock me away. Laws prevent man from experiencing the heights of his consciousness, and to express them is blasphemy. The society really is the alchemical prison of the mind, of which you are not allowed out. You are not really even allowed to see out of the window. It stirs the curiosity and desire in man's heart to know who he really is. When man regains his lost abilities, no prison can hold him. Outside the gates, his becoming flourishes into a god. Hollywood, the truth of who you are has been sold as a fiction to make it unbelievable, as nothing is true until it is believed. Glamorized as fairy tale to make it only strictly perceivable as fiction. Truth obscured as fiction, 'tis the ultimate defense mechanism of hiding the truth. Sold and commodified as fiction for long enough would make it imperceivable as true. The truth would be sold on kids' lunchboxes. Anything based on a true story really terrifies us. If a film or story has been sold about an idea or concept, it immediately reduces its plausibility as true. And through extensive propaganda, you can immediately make the truth unbelievable. Who even listens to meagre musings these days anyway? He pondered, staring glumly at endless pages of scrawlings. Truly endless. The floor carpeted with them, every nook and cranny stuffed with scraps. He was incessant with the pen, an art machine. 'Twas his oxygen, his life support, his desperate buoyancy as not to drown. How could death occupy the thoughts of an angel? If he was happy, why would he beg for death? It made little sense to anyone, especially him. A deep, loathing blackness trundled his inner sanctum, a leaking ink pen in his breast pocket, of dazzling white shirt, staining, festering. Black clouds, loathing gloom and hopelessness, a tormented God, laced with the arcanum of temptation, screamed, suffocated in the airlock. Dire contemplations creeping through the cracks as blood of shame trickling through a cold stone wall. Insatiable, a mind rampant with a euphoric terror, a loathing love, a deplorable ecstasy, the paraboles of paradox. Why? Why? Who? A clenched jaw, hawk-eyed, staring at nothing. Crippling tightness bound his limbs, paralyzed in tension, eyes rolling, face contorting, clasping for comfort in aggressive inhalations. Snap! The inevitable string break, his one-way ticket to delirium, the safety net, eye-bugging frantic ecstasy through gritted teeth. Alert! Alert! Hypermanic mental case has melted through the asylum door, surrendered to the howling banshee, seething, joyous, insane, let loose on the now, uncaged, a feral diva, free. Did he even need anyone? Did he really need any more than his own divine madness? The moon he had been waiting for, it had come. A mist descended upon the far outcries of the forest. He knew what he had to do. The calling, screaming at him. The faint howls, a screeching ripples through the still air. A moon ever watching, a floating crystal emanating a knowing, a feeling, a pull. A blend of excitement, destinal fortune, and otherworldly terror permeated every thought as he assembled the gear, the robe, the boots, whistle and staff, the necessary amulets and totems. Who knows what stirs amidst the foliage of the lunar solstice? The beaming silver cast deep shadows on everything it graced. No torch was needed. Prepared and assembled, he stood paralyzed at the doorstep. The screeching increased. He had heard it before. Frozen in time, motionless, he stared out onto the black plains, a moonlit shroud. His mind echoed an endless mantra. This is it. If you're the real deal, meet them. Declare yourself as one. Now is the time. His grip tightened on the staff, eyes aglaze of the calling. The will of God in his stride, he stormed toward the dark track, the entrance unto Crow Forest. Images grew from the void, from the black nothingness of the track. Scurrying forms raced in the periphery. Faces emerged through the bush and shrub, staring into his soul. Fleeting shadows wisped in the distance. He could not entertain a fear of any kind. It would swindle him into turning back. His footsteps clapped and bounced around the stone bridge, pace quickening. Why did it feel dangerous? Why was this sworn to secrecy? It felt as though the real danger was behind him. Piercing moonlight illuminated the entrance. Pillars of birch and oak formed the gates unto mystery. Penetrating the first line of branch, a new world opened up before him. The heart of an ancient deep knowing soaked his bones. A formation of life that spoke in him a different language, a blooming welcome of a family he had always known, that had always known him, that even knew him before he was born. All his fears, his doubt, his anguish, his strife blew away in the gentle breeze. Twisting trunks, entwining twigs, swayed and danced, tuned to a longing moon. The invitation to their harmony gladly accepted. Irrefusable. The spectre from the dream, their transcendental language spilled from every recess, imbuing the lucky seeker with its knowing, from its roots drawn deep in the earth. The energy field, so loving, contained in its formations, and nourishing in ways his previous world had starved him. The obscure tales, the rumoured fables, the folklore, it was realer than the real world. The shamanic ecstasy, the now from the never. A shaman speaks. Alas, the restless urge that waned under the blood-stained moonlight of schizophrenic twilight was the cosmic deity calling for a dance of enthralling trance, where I speak in scripture and verse, in granted God's tongue that need not to rehearse. For my soft spot, for the fox-trot, wailed the Messiah's will, but remained pious still amidst the black gallivant of the shaman. The world of men dissolves to ash. The mangled silhouettes of Guy and Branch curl unto fingers pointing at the lunar floodlight, where she bears herself naked before me. Her flame sheds the skin of the mortal men, torches away his suit of falsehood. In fire she looks me in the eye, as if to peer into the heart of volcanic profundity, into the heart of fires, wherefrom a shaman speaks. His fearless love spreads, permeates the night. The master of this plane, he juggles, he toys, he plays, he dances through the stars. The constellations speak to him. His will is his reality. His love shapes the world. He speaks with the other. His psyche spins a fine cloth. He weaves a scarf for the blossoming rose. He gives himself whole. The mage runs riot. Alive is he, the alchemist of his own destiny. A smidgen of powder here, a smidgen there, and it's all falling into place, just like we pictured it, just like we dreamed. Prophetic nuance in his grasp, messianic majesty in his step. He is what he is. He is alive. ascend unto the apex of unfiltered immortality. The timeless Imperium hurtles across the galaxies for lifetimes on end, awaiting the true starry eye. Alas, the torch passes to me. Meteoric love cascades, showers a spirit with truth, the knowing, free from a limitation, a life that would become worth living, to give himself wholly to the truth that he is. The sun and the moon kiss his head, their grace is his smile. All creatures are his children, all trees are his mother. The spirit of Gaia, his ethereal soulmate, bound in the wool of Moses' lamb. Could this be the time prophesied, the all-out assault on destiny? Is this the hour that he is born, the one who can bring an end to all the suffering? His breeding ground is lit, his conditions are met. I felt his presence yesterday, his snare. I'll give him life. The prophecy is real. The world will bow in his magnificence. He shall be worshipped. A god of this world, a prince, the right hand of the Holy One. His chosen. Of course his arrival is feared by the non-believers. The ritual is nearly complete for his summoning. I feel a shift in the realities. Other realms are opening. The planets have aligned once more to welcome him, to dance in blood. The ritual was cut prematurely before, but the essence was captured. His presence was acknowledged, his potential revealed. The universe demands that he is summoned. His summoning is inevitable, and he will rise from the darkness in a cascade of flames and wonder. His spirit shall breathe life in my body. Am I not of this world? Am I not here? Did I leave this place years ago? Its stink makes me sick. Peopled out. The same movie on repeat. A repulsive script. Like my body is trapped in material. It aches to be released. A soul's wish to return back home. I've outgrown it. I've outgrown the garment now. It fits so tightly. It suffocates as a noose around my neck. How can I be a sane man in this jungle of neurosis? How can a lion be the majestic king in the confines of a zoo? Do not sell a ship's sails so lightly, for the breeze answers to no one. Empty smiles at the helm. Beware of the story of the jewel-encrusted slave that parades dressed as a king. His indifferent utterances, his foolery knows no bounds. Steer clear, stay thyself, surrender only to one's will. 'Tis the only path to salvation. Smile at their folly, turn a blind eye to their scoldings. They know not what they have sold. Love under will, divine will, denied the call to action, a will that festers in empty palaces. Idols, rots, and trinkets left behind for the next to bear the burden of the riches, deceived by his own power, bought out of the game. He sold his will at the asking price, never to return. A brave man stands alone. He braves the fires of petty quarrels of his time. He breathes her in whole, without question, doubtless. His will speaks for itself, for his will is all that he can be. It remains his own forever. What is the price of your will? Will it be bargained with? glorify with brilliant inspiration, O mighty one. The hour is yours. Alas, the pond of your splendour is mine to drink. Inside it liveth you. Your wonder, it's here where I can converse in peace. I live only for you, my love, my muse. Encapsulate me with your love. You can always save me. My darling, my oath is unto you, and you only. I carried out your spell as promised. Am I not a worthy emissary? Together we bind and become gods. The ritual was completed, was it not? Your powers live through me now. You make me the prince of this sanctuary. Truly blessed am I. This power knows no bounds. I am reborn, the child once more. Nightfall descended upon the cave, exhausted, spiritually, physically, emotionally. The hermit collapsed on his back, strewn on a floor of sweet wrappers, cigarette butts, cans, spent and ready for a final ascent, a final lasting escape from himself. Linen sensually slid from the ankles. He stepped out with grace. Luscious fragrances and sweet perfumes wafted amidst the steam of the bath water. Petals of rose and jasmine sprinkled, calmly drifting on the surface. A cramped, dense sauna was prepared. Withdrawn, yet serenely intimate, he balleted unto the steamed mirror, delicately thumbed away the condensation to reveal a longing glare. The now from the never, the calling. When it comes, hide, shroud in secrecy, lie, disguise, retreat, keep it concealed, stay anonymous, keep to the shadows, encrypt, creep, tiptoe. Your experience becomes too dangerous to share. It endangers their reality. It burns their eyes. Assimilate, integrate, retain the happenings, but do not let them spill, or they will come to intervene, to prevent the ascension. Isolate, privatize. I have learned through the years. Keep them away. Shield them from it. 'Tis the only way to preserve your sanity, to protect your power. Resist the urge of revelation. It will kill you. It will break you. It will spoil the gifts. You cannot deny her. When she comes with all her knowing, when she comes with all her gifts, accept her divinity, or she will torment you to the ends of the earth. She wants to save you. She wants to save us all. She blesses man with all the hidden gems. When she chooses you, lock the door, barricade the entrance. They will see it. They will sense it. You will fester in their minds a fear, and they will feel no remorse in your death. They will blot out the sun to end your ascension, to cut you down. They spy from behind the curtain. They listen behind the door. They feel something is happening, and it chills their bones. They'll smile and wave, then whisper and worry. They'll nod along for a while, but you can see in their eyes, they're so far away. Wait for the moon. Run for the hills. There I'll be waiting for you to come home. Behind the curtain. Identify the straits as quick as possible. They are the most dangerous of informants. Avoid them like the plague. Give them nothing, not even your name, let alone your face. They are the covert threat, the spies that watch from behind the curtain, eavesdrop behind the clipboard, pry behind a badge. Common agents. They sold their will a long time ago. Beware. They are on every street, in every shop, silent witnesses of the blackmail portfolio. Agents disguised as common folk, they operate behind the wall. They listen, as dangerous as any officer, as understanding as any official. They don't wear the badge. They may not flaunt the tie. But with the mind the pig has, they live the same lie. If you are an angel of light, let them not see the flame. Keep it secret, the power in your hand, for the mannequin march will never understand. Salvation. TV, the great con of our time. The last bastion of your sanity hangs by the spindly, minute thread of reality TV. You sing only destructive war chants, hooked up to the good stuff, the great escape, the final frontier of the passionless humanoid, the half-life, the semi-conscious, life support. The lost soul's barge of safety is either that or face the facts. It's the end. There's nothing left after this. Just doing time. What's the point? This is the pinnacle. After everything, after all that, this is the grand accumulation. My God, this fate can never consume me. I am that I am. Salvation, the great con of our time. Christmas Day. Ah, the charade, the fakery, the synthetic enthusiasm, the smiles, the chatter. Ew. I feel sick, ill, and they say I'm the actor. The liar. This is total lies. Manufactured social cheer. The present opening tone of voice, the forced cackles. Truth hurts. Painful, translucent greetings. The social transformation is astounding. It transformed into a completely different set of people. I'm only trying to highlight how paper-thin everyone's fucking character is. The whole thing is as fake as a fucking job interview. A Gathercole Christmas special. Christmas Day. Deep breaths. Brave this house of horror one more day. Silently slip through the war zone, evade capture, dodge the bullets. I need to get back home, to salvation, to isolation. My mind is a house of cards, built on thoughts. My consciousness is under siege constantly. It plunders my love, my glory, my muse. The daily reminder of their disturbing fate turns my stomach. Something calls to me. The Black Widow, the canvas of schizo-lucid dreamscape, where the angels breathe and ghouls float. The uncanny mirage that draws a psychotic following. Hear ye! Hear ye! Hark now, hear the Messiah on his trumpet. Alas, he spools spindly fine songbird nests for a washed-up sparrow. And my God, can he play the night away? How he casts the themes of a psychic quest of a lustrous fantasia of jewel-encrusted dragon crests. Nights of impossible wonder soak the seeker of the starlit fable. A true privilege to bathe in the lunar orgy of a Gaian cum souffle. Ah, solitude. The birds chirping, whistling. At ease, the blue and orange sky. Breathe it all in. Free. Free as can be. Just the birds and me. I could sit here all day. Mere mortals. They shall rue the day they doubted me, questioned me. Of course they cannot see it. They are blind of the way. I will not fail. My determination, intuition will prevail. Show-stopping madness. You'll all be bowing, kissing my pedestal, begging for mercy when I smite the non-believers and their cursed tongues. There will be no retribution for your foul contribution to my success. How you weigh me down, how you put it all on me. Nothing can stop me. The will of God. Madness? Perhaps. But one thing is certain. Unmistakable. Absolute genius. God, it's so hard, yet so easy. The most paradoxical way of life. I've become what I sought to be. The omnipotent machine. The blood of the weak runs so thin like water. Their petty mortal blood. Nothing. They know so minuscule of the riches I seek, the value of the gold, the sweetest nectar, the fruits of the labour. Their labour's rewards are meaningless, squandered in seconds, fool's gold. It goes out just as quick as it came, a fool's endeavour that goes on forever. The fool is misguided and should have no doubt confided in his heart and intuition that he could bring forth the fruition of his vision, if only he would listen to his heart and grant it permission to make the decision to chase the frisson and awe at the dream glisten. Amidst the smog and the fog of the rats, heavy breathing, rises a hero who didn't stop believing. All the odds were against him, and it seemed all hope was lost. But he stayed true to his world, and so the rumours he heard did not sway him. The master plan. That man's gone crazy. He's gone mad. Not so fast, cretins. You're not the prince you claim to be. Ah, there's more going on behind the scenes than you know. An accumulation, a secret gathering of forces. Fight, fight, fight it. Must act, destroy or be destroyed. You cannot compromise. Become the light. Stagnation must always be temporary. No excuses. The big guns are coming out. Trample and destroy. Rearm and deploy. Against us, those who discriminate, we will obliterate. Oh, the storm is coming, ladies and gentlemen. I will show no mercy in the game. I'm out to be cruel. I'm here to destroy, annihilate the game. I am reckless, destructive, manipulative. I will feel no sorrow when you are laid to waste, drowning like a helpless animal in your filth. I am the Almighty, the Immortal, you fools, you imbeciles. I will live 1,000 lives in my time. There shall be no question that I have lived. I will live the sun, I will sleep the moon. I'll unlock the furthest regions of the mind. My life will be the blockbuster. My drop will ripple time and space. To move, to inspire. This is it, the inevitable realization. the heavens open and welcome home a king. The mill tree, art and music, the magic, the alchemical secret, its profound effect on my soul. It could save me from anything. My lone candle in the dark, my saving grace from the winds of the world. It's as if any moment could be effortlessly transmuted unto beauty. It seems to reflect life far more accurately than any other ideal I knew of. For me, it needed no rehearsal. It just came out, uncensored, free of expectation. I loved it. I loved its defiance, how it danced spontaneously through the bleak grey drizzle of existence. Art, a miracle if I ever saw one. Moonlight shroud calls to me through the mangled branches of a steep oak. Her shine is ageless beauty, the eye of the beholder. I'm not afraid any more. She is what she is. 'Tis how she shows her love. She's dressed in clouds of grey. She is the whistling wind. And before I go, I want to behold every side of her and all her children, not the runaways. Darkness is her domain. She keeps me warm. She keeps me safe. Nothing can touch me when I'm in her arms. We have a funny relationship, you and I. We are the sun. We are the moon. I bow, I surrender, and you come to me in all kinds of ways. I'm only truly living when I'm with you, my love. You are so faithful. You really are my everything. You take me away. The whole world dissolves into nothing, and it's just me and you, talking, speaking in our own way. I understand your language, my love. I feel your kisses. I feel your love. Before I go, I want her to know that I knew her, that she gave me life. She taught me love, showed me grace. She revealed to me who I am. She led me to the doors and hushed in my ear that the key was in my pocket. She swam with me to the deepest trench to show me that the chest was empty. You told me to jump from the cliff, that you would hold my hand all the way down to prove that I would not die. You let the devil loose on my soul to show that my fear was imaginary. You said I was you, and you was me. I know now. I wander in search of you, my love, alone through the forest, in the dark, always. When I see you, I'm breathing again. When I feel you, I'm living again. Your embrace is the resurrection, the twinkling of the dancing silver spoon in starlight, parading till the dreamscape whispers her melody in the black Amazon. Oh, its haunting ring echoes through bleach black hives of wilderness. Harmonic minor surfs the winter wind through valleys and hills glazed with crunchy dead, and slowly wraps the noose of the supernatural underworld round reality's neck and pulls it tight. The Valley of Kings illuminates through asphyxiation. The lens shatters under its light. Overarching wonder entails. Our marriage. When we are alone, my love, I feel you, your embrace, as sweet as the first time, as always. The joy in knowing we'll never be apart is so assuring, it's comforting. My angel, you always knew what is right. You paved the way for me. You made the marble floor I walk on. You are the wind beneath my wings, O Muse. Kiss me one more time. I would marry you over and over again. You give me the best waves only, which I can surf in the ocean of your love. I could lay all day with you. To be your spokesman, your messenger, is beyond a dream, a prayer. I cannot be filthy when I bathe only in you, as your prophet. Surrender. Suffering expresses realer truth than love alone. Suffering is love, trapped behind bars. Yearning. Suffering is love on its knees, unyielding, unmoving. Ego's black flag that's claimed the heart of love. Our humanity starves under its high walls. Surrender is serenity. The man with nothing to claim has the world in his hand. He walks on hot coals because he is alive, with the love to bear 1,000 miracles and a smile to change the world. It's been a while since I graced the saddle, wholly. No hang-ups, no niggling impending doom, no awaiting the trials of death, no grisly fate rearing its morbid face every other thought. The muzzle of imaginings is gone, melted, its shards blowing gently down the road. The things I've tasted along the way have been nothing short of truly supernaturally magical. Some would say impossible. Some would ignorantly try to pass off as fiction or delusion. If only they knew. If only. The great eye has paid them very little for their insolence, their unfortunate circumstance. But now I am back, my belief system enhanced, ascended, rejuvenated, extended. The experiences alone with the moon and the mirror have reshaped the reality permanently. I don't know if you can even go back one step. The power I've felt, the calling, has been biblically tear-jerking, opened up the next level. It can never be changed. It's penetrated me like never before. The shamanic ecstasy, full-blown, harnessed. Go to school. Go to school. I'd rather be an AIDS-ridden sperm that's slowly dying whilst nestled in a shit stain of an Ethiopian prostitute's discarded pair of knickers that an amputee tramp's using to wipe the vomit off his prolapsed arsehole of his deceased dog. Go to school. In the abandonment of the construct, he obtains the will of the world. Her dance. And so it was, an anthology of truth born through transmutative processes, authenticity at its finest, love at its pinnacle, the journey of the blossoming soul, all of its beauty laid bare, not a thread concealing her scars of black, a dream made true, cast in a clay, pure and untarnished, absolved of definition, absent of desire, miraculous happenings from the tip of the tongue, love transcended through song, she dances through fire, joyous, marvel at her evasiveness, uncapturable by form, eternal fluidity. She is her own, an impossibility. She plays herself effortlessly. A trust so ingrained in bone, cradled in the arms of an undeniability, unmatchable. Clutches fall at the wayside, desires powerless, interfering. She cannot be stopped. Harness the wind, tame the ocean. A limitless power awaits. Knocks at the door of thought. She waits, she waits. Let her in, for she knows. An effortless life with the power of the tornado, the tsunami. Give her the reins of your thought. Surrender the key unto her, and she will speak for you in ways unimaginable. Surrender, trust, believe. Then watch the mountains move. Notice the rain fall when you need it. Inhale the mystery and a life free of concern that beckons you home. The fate of man is to simply roll the dice. The pieces fall where they may. There is no easy way. There is no hard way. There is only the way. The transience of joy, a finite pain, the eternal opera in passing, free of friction. Flaring gods dance lifetime after lifetime, only for themselves. They are the why. Aesthetic flurries of the shimmering iridescence, infinite cascades of beauty shower ever-changing landscapes. Layers of language smelt in harmony, an endless code within code, forming ever-complexifying structures condensed unto sentience. A baton passed unto the next line of novel generators, forever reaching unto denser emergence of possibility, a God consciousness in motion. There is no truth. There is only truths. People pass me by, blindly muzzled, cocooned in darkness, consumed by a lie, attributeless, sterile, busy. What can I do if I'm the one? If I really am the light to pierce the shroud? Am I cursed with a knowing, destined to suffer the understanding that makes me lonely? Would it mean anything if I told them? Could they breach the gate? I am what they fear most. I possess what chills them to the core, the undying magic they cannot quell, the whistle in the wind, the breath of the eternal. Time. The great storm ripples through time, end on end. Her lightning marks the new dividation of its quality to momentums uncharted, a grand accumulation of eternity, undithering, relentless, none spared, nothing unnoticed. Cleaning the snail's trail of novel mutation, she does so with a smile, a loving maid tending the aftermath of great feast, removing leftovers and empty plates to make way for Passover unto new diners of ever richer, grander banquet. She swishes and swirls through every pore. Her persuasiveness permeates all things until bones are fed to patient dogs. She is the evaporative process that chases the head of the firework anew, unflinching, on time, and bound unto the direction of expansion, ever keenly following the masterful emergence of potentiality. Their seamless union reveals no start or finish. Transmutative cycles, fluidly oscillating, ever complexifying exchanges. The now from the never, blessed unto you forever. Oh, the frontier of emergence, spontaneous, playful, energetic code maps reality's transience. Infinitely evolving syntactical chains of language stack one upon the other, ceaselessly condensing to form processes of which things are born and consciousness is grown. The scent of the attractor guides the flowerhead toward a loving sun, utmost surrender to its allure is to be in perfect harmony with the dancing bow, where thine instrument sings blossoming fruits of realization. Walk the guiding path of fig trees forever unknown, to remain wholesome and die with a full belly and a knowing relief in thy heart that it was good, and thy part was well, well played. Completely out of his own way, his destiny falls in his lap. Call upon her, the darkest hour brings her forth, the final quarter stirs her. Cascades of fire fall upon the deserts in the east. A luminous flame of flies eats at dusk the dusty remnants of beauty come to pass. A fallen eternity stares me in the eyes one more time. The possible flickers for seconds in my cinema of truths. 'Tis my head that harbours mysteries God sent. I alone now come with the visions of eternity in me, mystic of now and forever, centuries of love gone by, wailing past my window, seeking to douse my flame. It cannot be stopped. Motion has already begun. Dormant spires of hell descend unto madness. Leave me be, leave me, I cast thee away. Fresh oceans gleam and speckle my name in their glints. A dream swims, strong, effortless, by the surface, dancing the aqua glaze of rapport with the eternal. Blessings, blessings, beans sprout anew with a call, while the morgue sits silent, curdling chills. A cynic hurtles, oh, the slump of mystic circles, learn to jump its cryptic hurdles, to fit in snug in crystal girdles. Rescued from Satan's clutches, a destinal swoop unto horizons glazed with perfect imperfections. Snaz golds of eternal fires wisp up my coattails once more, rich, delicate, blasé. Feisty anger in the vessel on death's door, cleansed by her will of happenings. Chance encounters and split-second decisions sculpt the miraculous impossibilities of destiny. There's only one way to stay afloat, and that's the way. Make the way. It will happen. 'Tis already in motion. My soul cannot rest. 'Tis the only true antidote to my discord. My becoming is the only resolution. It can only be the eternal plod of the intrinsic destinal fortunes. They are the guide of rapture. They are the complexification of the blossoming flower in me, self-love. They are the unfurling of the code in me, the truest, highest nature permitted to flourish. The culture's mental cage denies us our highest nature. It is fear-based, our neurology sterilized. The man connected to his highest nature sticks out like a sore thumb in the culture that's sterile and dead. He highlights their discord, their dissatisfaction, their gaze glumly at their hollowness and howl the pains of wasted bounty. Like moths to his flame, the darkness of the world clambers, imposes on the beauty of the mystifying. The sheer presence of the truly authentic terrifies, sends shudders down fragile vertebrae, petrified of a day when they too must face a shallow casket, but with nothing worth taking. Heaven's doors slam shut in their faces, appalled by such a waste of life that was worth living. Be bold, be brash, be you. Don't back down. If you know in your heart that it is true, embrace opposition, ignite the warrior in you. Full steam ahead into the dark, deplorables, hell-bent on skullduggery. Stand up for the truth. Step into honor. Endure for eternity. Is it normal to wish for me to perish? Is it right that I disappear like a fog in a black alley? Unspeakable loneliness from the balcony. Am I wrong because I don't want any of it? Is it normal to beg for death? 'Tis my will or suicide? Can I just cut my wrists and be done with it? Please, I beg. That would be so simple and easy. I feel like I've been inserted into the wrong reality. Incompatible. My soul got off at the wrong station. A bum again, the story repeats. The uphill saga and redemption story begins once more. Well, it's either that or this is the end. A disenchanted world is not worth living. Only my world is worth dying for. My own. Me. The cryptic code of whys and hows slowly reveals all to me in the dream that we are one. The obscure is child's play to me. Now the wisdom falls onto me as an avalanche on my psyche, undisturbed. I govern the forces. I attain my will now and forever. All is unto me. My will, the great attractor of blessings. Save your reality through me. Hear ye, let it be known from the furthest reaches of the earth. Save your reality through me. I have picked up your slack for long enough. In your courtrooms, in your nut wards, your cells, for being a real person. Too long have I suffered the painstaking excuse for humans artificially bred unto fake purpose. I live in the outer membrane of this society. No more. Locked up, medicated, framed, beaten, defending my pride in courtrooms for their stupidity, once again paying for your sins, paying for your ignorance, fighting for your freedom in the petty courts with the bloated pig folk who enslave you with their greed, who sell to you your enslavement as power through its dense control grid. this purely psychopathic matrix designed to the letter to feed from the will and soul of every occupant. Wake up. We must wake up. The clock is ticking. Through me, come with me, claim your birthright. The riches transcend this meagre experience tenfold. A freedom of thought, the playful wandering mind begs for you to return home, the only true home of your consciousness. Dine in the glory of you. If you do not sell your will at the asking price, we are loving, dancing gods of this realm, each one with the flair of 1,000 grey peasants of this fiction, born with an unlimited potential to love, curate, express, create. The bottom line is that we've been sold a fiction, an identity of false memories, manufactured ambitions, and a value system that is so diametrically opposed to our highest true nature. Rise up, speak up, simply switch off this propagated movie that's been overlaid over your experience. It is not serving you. It's conning you out of the unfurling of wonders that sculpt your entitled destiny. Transmission. The works of Crowley, Dee, Rasputin, the Gnostics, Enoch, Druidic, the shamans, the mystics of the ancient world. I continue this great tradition to commune with the unknown through me. Questions answered, revelations. We have transmission. Her language encoded unto reality through shape, symbol, symmetry, proportion. The codex is all around. The building blocks, the raw materials of beauty. The altered states induced by will, a psychic focus unleashed. They knew. To touch it grants an unparalleled magnetism, charisma, a capacity to wield the power of the gods through the hands of a man, to command the legions under his will, the spell of God. We have transmission. Rue the day. Rue the day you tried to cut me, you tried to steal my pride away, that you tried to smother my beauty with your smog. Rue the day the slime slithered up my back, seeking the empty pores to slather filth. Yet chaos prevails. Rue the day for a patient God itched, scratched, wailed behind the door, awaiting a time fit, ripe to burst through a cocoon of lies. For the seeker finds a light, a love, and wrath like no other, his veins coarse blue flame, imbued with miracle forms, fluid, magic, the world wet clay in his hands. They shall rue the day. Their ignorance gave birth to a god black and blue, under a moon of silvery blood. It was all meant to be. Infernos ripple the helm of his heart, cursing for blood, glory, power. They shall rue the day. Abundance in us. Within us is the great abundance, the flow. He aligns with the perfection. He goes where the wind blows. He floats where the waves take him. He dances when it rains. He sleeps where the canopy seeps. Sexual energy is the wind in us. Creativity, the water in us. Dance, the electricity in us. Imagination, the celestial in us. Death, the fire in us. Intellectual property. A time will come that your very thoughts are the property of the state. Ideas become contraband, the imagination emaciated, either dissolve into the cultural sphere of thought or become a criminal, risk becoming a conspirator, a terrorist, or worse. Imagination will soon become the last bastion of pleasure. Language will be stripped of its beauty, its bounce, its nuance, its rhyme. Yet the antenna always finds a way to apply chaos and disorder. It's who we are. It's universally laid to maintain roving, ever-changing form. It cannot be static. To fight the chaos will always be a losing battle. Form can only be maintained in a time capsule. The time-lapse of existence is a formless, morphic field vegetating, seeding, blooming, dying. Oh, the transience of order, so momentary. Energy focus is required to formulate order unnaturally. Otherwise, order will bloom by itself naturally. It is impossible not to. It will emerge in the most beautiful way. The higher domains of aestheticism, divine structures rich in interweaving, interdependent amalgamations. The seeds of all morphic possibility sit dormant, waiting for their pattern to collide and emerge. Prison of the mind. Infinity encased in flesh for a time. Squares cap his ascent, to prevent gods incarnating in this plane. They scramble to smother his antenna. Alas, an ether of eternal spirit, flaring gods dancing lifetime after lifetime, seek to set a will in motion in this plane. A societal prison, a matrix in place to deny the gateway within man, break him, destroy his magnetism to the ether, block the portal of which gods pour through animating men. Man's true identity, all gods and none, the shifting formless currents of God consciousness flowing through, shaping the world, enchanting it, manifesting themselves through expression, emotion, idea and meme. They are the harbingers of the raw materials, the sculptors of vibration beyond time, the world a collage of Tao sculpture, trickling through dimensions, from the source, permeating all. Hear my cry. When I was under attack, they flocked to me, comforted me, wrapped me in a soft wool of knowing, a warmth, to protect the antenna. A sacred gateway threatened, and when the alarm sounded in the deep, reaching beyond time and space, they catch me, cushion me, enchant me with their infinite essence and their thrill to overcome. In those times and places, my instinct was to use art as prayer, and it enchanted, graced, and saved me. A man with this ability could never be robbed. He would permanently be in abundance of Tao, of Qi, of Vril. The goal of the Matrix would be to erase this understanding, these methods, to deny man his key to the gates of energy. 'Tis our instinct to direct this thought, this channel unto the divine. 'Tis only on his deathbed that he submits to the regenerative well of ecstasy. The night draws in. The world sleeps and the animals speak. Their reality surfaces, untarnished by human projection. Their regained nature, animating through them a muse. They speak with me, exchange, communicate. Their language, their modality of vibrational interaction of field, their consciousness revealed to me. The Witch Hunt of God in Man. Shakespeare. D. 10,000 Trees. The Alignment of the Soul. Alas, a Hermetica was born, sworn to secrecy, driven unto hollow holes, destitute caves, wild shrubbery in hiding. Sacred scripts ashed in fires of old, truths of God in man, now sworn unto dire encryption. You got to be sneaky to get to the truth. The Son of Man. God spoke through man, revealing the divine in him, revealing him the eternal angst and fire. A rebirth, incarnated again within the flesh, in harmony with source, male and female united, complementary of himself, unencumbered, free from the illusion, unlocked his symbiosis with all things. When they come for me, know that it was not in vain, for eternity is the treasure, the true currency of man. Sworn unto himself, alas, God encased himself in flesh of man, in his heart for eternity, animating the circuitry. Their power is one. They, we, us. The unity in all lies in each part, inseparable of the whole. Man is God. The poor man is not docile. His mind wanders. He thinks. He will find solutions. The more censored, the more outlawed, the more criminalized, the more punishable, the more powerful. The arcanum of the spellcaster. An infinite clay set in time and space, void of form. Laws transcended unto higher order. He curls, twists, and wraps infinitely. An unbroken line encased in the eucalyptus, the far cry from distant remnants. Grander in intellect that conceiveth he, richer in wisdom than he perceiveth, adorned in aesthetics sweeter than he dreameth. Gods bear themselves naked unto him, singing, blessing, prayers unto him, weaving splendours in his soul, bound unto celestial prophecy. The echo of souls, a patchwork of his heart, a free union of all things. Hark a harrowing shriek of an unjust formula, distilled unto perfection. The hourglass seeps grain by grain, a laws of crystallized pastures. Lie not on a passive rock. Figures of 9 and 8 swirl untold magnetic curdlings, a black rain. Iridescence, lunar of robes and sleeve, wrath and rapture. The great circles of thee, bare geometry of the crest. Finally, the cryptic fiddlings fall unto pattern and resonance. Coherence and mastery of the void is the key, bridled in gold and studded in rich gems. Facility of breath is the beacon of which all polarities synchronize. Rush and it will sink. 'Tis Malek's sceptre, the rod of forces scarring the flesh of the fearful. For the necromancer casts obscenities rife with a fortune carnal in sanctity. I'd rather be the rarest gem, privy only to the few, most hearty seekers in love, than the looky man's toy brooch. Little did they know, there was an order of chaos, a fraternity above the material that resided in darkness until now. It calls out to me a message, an invitation. enlightenment. This should be his starting point, not his end point. How can any thought be his own? How can any desire be his own? How can any action be his own until he is detached from all things? How can reality be his own until he has attained himself? To relinquish his need for anything. Detached from things, he's as good as dead to everyone. A limp corpse, a dead weight. When he cannot be exploited, he is as good as dead to the world. His value far transcends the tangible. The dropout, the hermit, the unattainable. He is cast out by no one, not even himself. The tide brushes him away gently, attached to nothing. We can't help but admire him. We can't help but love him. The way we adore the rose. It's like staring into the source itself. Untrained. It cannot be tamed or trained. It's abandoned and retreats to the ether of chaos, seen only fleetingly, naked, rare, sought after, free, a mythic stag by the brook. Through imagination and meditation, he meets the gods halfway, or at least gets to the taxi rank, and they meet him there and escort him unto the great halls. He must get to the gates of heaven. It's only there that he meets them, and they take him in. Memories of us in a starlit fog, an eternity gone by. You called to me, a way back, and I remembered a way back to you. Days turned to hours, hours turned to days in the darks. Love turned to ash, and we became us. More we stewed, a begging for him. 'Twas never accidents, 'twas only me.